Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. This is where I usually say you've fallen right in the middle of a bunch of oil burning experiments on this 2002 Toyota Corolla here with the 1ZZ FE engine in it. However, now we're actually nearing the end of these experiments, which started with seafoam over 3 years ago. Originally, this Corolla was burning about 1.25 quarts of oil in every 300-ish miles or so. Then after several experiments, it seemed that one chemical reduced that to the same amount of oil in 800 to 1,000 miles. That's about as good as it's gotten. We might have even lost a little ground since then. Over the course of all these videos, we have gotten tons of great suggestions, for which I want to thank you all again. I wish we had time to try them all, but alas, these videos can't go on forever. So today is what I've been promising to be the grand finale of the chemicals. It is recognized by many as being the best, yet very expensive, last resort sort of treatment. BG Platinum Dynamic Engine Restoration Service. The kit ran me around $300 US, which your subscribing, watching, liking, and sharing helped pay for. And I can't thank y'all enough for that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Some 44K, some MOA, engine cleaner, and a jug of rinse oil, and an instruction sheet. All right, what does it say here? First, put on your glasses. Okie doke. Dynamic Engine Restoration Service. Kit product number KE09. Wear safety goggles to protect your eyes. Install BG Platinum 44K. How do you install a liquid? Bring engine to operating temperature. Now we'll drain the oil and change the oil filter. All right, I got that slightly loose. Couldn't find a solo cup. We'll have to use this coffee cup. This worked pretty good last time, so we'll see. Hey! I think we got it with just one tiny drop of oil on our finger. Just clean that up a bit. Get our new oil filter. Make sure none of those bits of foil fall down in there. Yo! That's good. Just snug. Now we are going to fill this with the engine cleaner to the normal capacity, which is about 4 quarts, and this comes with 6 quarts, so we should have plenty to work with. Oh goodness, that might not have been a good idea, but you know I love to smell things. Gardenia. Yep, definitely a lot of warnings on there. May be fatal if swallowed and enters airways. Anyway, all right, so there's no indicator to see how much we're putting in. So if this is 6 quarts, I'm gonna take it down to roughly here, I think. Looks like motor oil. See how we're doing on volume over here. Oh, just barely on the dipstick. And yes, I know the car is sitting in an angle, but it's not that far from level actually. I definitely want to get enough in here since some of it might burn up and I don't want it to get too low. Take just a touch more. That should be good. Now we need to crank and run it at 3,000 RPM for 45 minutes. And I'm gonna hook up the blue driver so that we can monitor this more accurately. If I can find my phone, what's in my pocket. I'm gonna do the live monitoring, engine RPM. Some of you out there are probably like, do that one, do that one. So I'm gonna crank the engine and then I'm gonna wedge something in the throttle to hopefully hold it at 3,000 RPM. And right now on the clock in here, it is 9:28. Hold it one more time. This might be too much. Let's see. A little more. All right, so we are right around 3,100. I don't want to adjust the screw on the throttle because I don't want to have to try to get it back to normal again. I think this will be close enough. And we are at 9:32, so got to run until 10:15, I guess. Let's see the engine coolant temperature there, 183, and the air intake temperature is 48 degrees. Get rid of this. Definitely making some smoke here, and we're just getting going. Woo! All right, we're coming up on 45 minutes here, and we are still making as much smoke as ever. I don't know if you can see that in this light, but oh yeah, we've made time. All right, now we gotta change the oil and filter again, but first let's jug up this oil from the last experiment. That's pretty dark, and I don't even think this has 1,000 miles on it. A lot of carbon in there. This has a lot of that Pennzoil Platinum in it, the 0W20, and then of course we kept topping off with 5W30 after that, so should be good for now. Another oil filter. Get this one out of here. Ooh, that's steaming. Does it look any cleaner up there? Actually doesn't look that dirty, does it? No! Go get some cat litter. It does have a strong smell to it. Doesn't smell like acetone anymore, but strong. Still, doesn't look too dirty either. All right, now we gotta add the rinse oil and run that for 20 minutes at 3,000 RPM. You know, I gotta tell you, at this stage of the game, I'm not very hopeful. It was still smoking an awful lot. Of course, that could be burning up oil and stuff in the exhaust system, the catalytic converter, but I don't know. It didn't seem to change much at all. This rinse oil smells like acetone too. Oh, but look at that. That is crystal clear. That is crazy. That is so clear. See how we're doing? Just a touch more. That should be good. Perfect. Let's crank it up again. Looks like it's 10:41 in here, so 20 more minutes, be right about 11 o'clock, just after 11. Still a lot of smoke. I think the rinse oil is smoking worse than the other. Man, we have smoked up the whole neighborhood. Coming up on time here. That's bad. That's worse than the cleaner. That's horrible. Think we've ruined the engine? Smoke is still dissipating. I'm gonna get inside for a few minutes till this clears up. Okay, before we drain the rinse oil, let's jug up the used cleaner. Oh, making a big old mess. Okay, grab another oil filter. And I won't bore y'all with this filter change here. Now I do want to show this drain because this was clear. That should be interesting. So that's what it looks like coming out. Now time for some regular motor oil. All right, that should be enough. Now we're parked in our usual nice and flat spot. See where we are on the oil. 3/4 of the way to the top. It's hard to tell. Right there. It should be 4 quarts exactly. Probably can't see that, but that's right, 4 quarts. But now we're gonna throw that all off because it says after installing the engine oil, add a can of the MOA. So we put in our usual 4 quarts of oil. And now we're going to add 11 fluid ounces of the MOA, which actually smells like very crude motor oil. So when we do our oil checks, we'll have to take this into consideration. We'll let this drain down and we'll take another reading on the dipstick just so that we can have a good data point. Okay, it's been several minutes. Let's see where we are. Yep, I know you probably can't see this, but it is right where my fingernail is, right there. Right there. Okay, who wants to see what the catch can looks like after all that? You don't want it to drain into here if it's full. I doubt it's full. Just remove this. All right, there is a little bit of oil in there. Looks like it might be a tablespoon. So this here is 1 tablespoon. So, not quite a tablespoon of oil in there. We'll dry this out and start over. Now we'll just reset the oil tripometer. There's the oil. And start driving it. Okay, before we actually drive it, let's scope the engine to see what it looks like after all that cleaning. In the last video, I rambled a little about the second law of thermodynamics and how everything moves from order to disorder. And I asked the natural question, then where did all this order come from to begin with, if everything only winds down, so to speak? And if everything has to be moving from a more ordered state to a less ordered state, then wouldn't that mean that if we went backward in time, everything would be more perfect? Look at this Corolla. It has problems. The headliner is disintegrating. It doesn't like to go into third gear, even though the transmission has been rebuilt. The check engine light is on for a couple of reasons, and it burns oil like Aladdin's lamp. But if we went backward in time, we'd eventually see this Corolla rolling off the assembly line in a perfect state. If this law of entropy applies to everything, wouldn't reason tell us that Earth, its rotation, its revolution, its magnetic field, its atmosphere would have been more perfect if we go backward in time? Life, plants, animals, us, DNA. Wouldn't life have had to have been more perfect if we went backward in time? Doesn't the second law of thermodynamics infer that DNA cannot improve? It can only degrade. This law basically gives us Chinese crested dogs from wolves. What if we started over with our study of the universe, but this time didn't sweep the second law of thermodynamics under the rug? Just something to think about. I don't think the spark plugs look any better. Let's see, keep these in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like number 2 looks decent. The rest of them look fairly fouled. So, there's number 1. Definitely looks different. Still a lot of oil on it. Something else. That is a different look. All right, let's go down number 4 while we got it. Number 4 is looking pretty clean, but very oily at the same time. Now we'll go down number 2. Number 2 is dark. I can't see it. The top still is covered with carbon, though it doesn't look very oily. Go down number 3. Number 3 looks kind of like kind of like number 1. Oily, but a lot of the carbon has been removed. Let's switch cameras and look at our intake valves. So this is cylinder number 2. There's one intake valve and the other. Still have a lot of oil around that seat. Let's check out number 3. Oh man. It's got all kind of nastiness up there, doesn't it? Looks like there's a ton of oil in there. And a ton of oil in there. That's cylinder number 3. Man, that is nasty looking. Let's see what cylinder number 4 looks like. There's a little bit of oil in there. Not so much oil there. Let's look at that other one again. Maybe it's the light. Might be the light. When I move it, it doesn't look like it has so much oil in there. All right, and number 1. Not so much oil in there. And not terrible in there either. All right, well, I think that's good enough for now, unless you think we ought to look at the exhaust valves. There's number 1, exhaust valves. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. And here's number 4. Ooh, look at that, caked inside there. Ooh, it is caked up in there, isn't it? That doesn't look good. Let's see what number 3 looks like since it's so oily. That's pretty bad, isn't it? That is pretty bad. It doesn't even look like they'd seal that well. About number 2. Now 2 is the cleanest of all the cylinders, right? So, and I can already tell they're cleaner than the rest. But they do have a little junk on them. Number 1. Pretty caked up from all that oil smoke. All right, I think we've seen enough for now. What are you doing? Chinese stuff. That's why you tell me what a downer I am.
We're here for the experience, David. This is what we're here for.
So it unzips like that.
It unzips.
Wow! No, I shouldn't video him. We are at 201 miles. Let's see what the oil looks like. Huh. Kind of hard to tell. Looks like it might still be at the top dot. Of course, you know it was about 1/4 of an inch above the top dot. So I'll get a fresh napkin and we'll do the blot test. Actually, well, no, I think it's right at the top dot. Let's see. Yeah, pretty close to the top dot. Flip it and try this other side. Ready, straight down, don't move. Boom. And down. Huh? That side had a lot more oil on it. Get a few more miles on it, maybe it'll be easier to tell. But we definitely don't have to add. We'll see how it goes. Let's see if the catch can has caught anything. And just a teeny bit of oil in the bottom. And this was all interstate driving so far, from 70 to 75 miles an hour for the most part. got 376 miles. Oh, I looked at this side and thought, shoot, it's all the way to the top dot. Then I flipped it over, it's right there. So, yep, it looks like we are down probably 3/4 of a quart already, which means the oil usage has definitely not improved. Okay, well, it looks like
BG Dynamic Platinum Engine Restoration Service Kit
was a bust. So what's next? Well, I think it's time we move toward mechanical intervention, which may ultimately mean the replacement of the pistons and piston rings. But to keep with our tradition of trying the cheapest fix first, we're going to first try to mechanically remove whatever is clogging the piston oil drainback holes without removing the pistons. So in the next video in this series, we'll find out, can the oil drainback holes in the pistons be mechanically unclogged without removing the pistons? And if they are cleaned out, will that in itself reduce the oil consumption? Or will it only be a first step in reducing the oil consumption by allowing more oil to flow through the ringlands, cleaning them out and unsticking the piston rings, which in turn reduces the oil consumption? If you're interested in that and you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to think about it. As always, thank you for watching. Please comment below, and I hope to see y'all in the next one.